3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's Monday. It's Monday. It really is. 7 o'clock. And that can mean only one thing. It's time for Reading the Signs, where me, Comedy John Ryan, and my comedian pals from all over the world are going to be talking about comedy, well-being, why we do it, how we cope. And that's where we need your help. We need you to send us your top tips for well-being. Be part of the show. Drop a comment in the box on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the mensradiostation.com website. It's going to be a great show, much better than last week. What we're trying to do is think exceptional, which, funnily enough, is the motto of WJ, our show sponsors. WJ are the UK's leading road marking and highway maintenance company. They're working with us, we're working with you. Let's get to it.
Well, dun 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 dun. Welcome along. It's Monday night. Welcome along to tonight's show with me, John Ryan, Reading the Signs, brought to you by the Men's Radio Station and also WJ, our sponsors. It's been an amazing week I've had. Let me know how your week has gone. Let me know if you're there. Drop some comments in the box or, just give us a like on one of these many hundreds of social media platforms that exist right now. There's so many, I can't even keep up with them a lot of the time. How's your week been? What you've been up to? Let us know that you're there. Have you had a good time, bad time? Were you caught up with the petrol strike? Were you caught up with the weather? You're just feeling a bit down or you're happy? Whatever your mood, there's always someone here that can help you, advise you, give you some tips. But we're not clinicians, don't forget. So this week, unfortunately, Katie Mulgrew can't be with us. Oh, but she's fine. I've got a great replacement. Well, a couple, actually. Who I will introduce you to in a few moments. So I've been to Spain the last week. Yeah. And it was fantastic to just be out and about in the sunshine, getting some vitamin D. If you can get vitamin D from gin and tonic, I've got loads. Well, I say gin and tonic, beer really, it's got to be done. As ever, Tasha is in the box commenting. So if you do get any hello, I love you messages, that is Natasha Donovan, my partner in crime, writer and producer and muse and everything else that you want to call her. Do you have a muse? Let me know who keeps you going and what keeps you going. Okay, so what can I tell you about tonight's first guest? Because we've got two guests tonight, we've got a special. Our first guest tonight, he's just an amazing guy. He's very, very funny man. I don't always like comics who do one-liners and puns. Gary Delaney kind of broke the mold for me because he kind of links them. But this guy tonight, Dickie Richards, he's just a funny bloke. He's just got funny bones, right? He's the Polish Cockney comedian. International stand-up comedian, writer of The Shortest Joke in the World, and was actually a member of The Greatest Show on Legs. So he's got loads and loads of stuff to talk about. But as ever, he is a mate, so he's going to have loads of great stories, and he's just a really interesting bloke. He came in at very, very short notice, so I do appreciate him coming in at like half an hour's notice. If he couldn't have helped out, it was going to be my mate Pete Murray, the plumber, but he would have sat downstairs. We decided this would have been awkward. If I said, what have you been up to? He would have said, well, sitting in your front room, John. So having an international flavour this week. There you go. Tasha's already mentioned you, Dickie, if you're in there, as you sit in the green room. I love Dickie Richards, she says. So it's going to be one of them sort of nights, I think. We're just going to get him in. This guy is just an amazing talent. Very, very funny man. Can we have a special warm welcome for Mr. Dickie Richards? There you go, mate. Look at that. Effortless.
Hello, everyone. Hello, John. Hello, Tash.
There you go. That's more like it. There you go. Look, people are going to think we're like a before and after picture. So I'll come down in the frame like that a little bit. I've got to go that way. I'm
not an older version of you, aren't I?
No, you're like a version of me if I did well. Look, I'm still in the Japanese laundry, mate. You've got
we both cut our own hair by the look of it, but I think we're doing all right.
I've actually, for the first time today, a year after starting, had a shower in my new shower room. So thanks to Pete Murray.
I've seen you've been documenting some of the works that have been going on.
Yeah,
great, nice.
Well, I just got bored, mate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And all your people, you all went back home. I had to do it myself. Couldn't get a Polish builder for love nor money.
Yeah. Is it all lopsided, John? Because we didn't do it.
No, that's right. I just would like to point out the men's radio station is in no way endorsing or condoning any racist language or any views on the Brexit referendum. Anyway, back to it.
Polish builders are the best. I mean,
they're the best and the cheapest. Well, they were. What have you been up to, mate? How did you survive the petrol strike? Petrol crisis?
Well, I mean, the thing is, this isn't a boast, John, in any way at all. But I've wanted one for a long time, and we got an electric car about the first week of September.
I thought you was going to say we got a petrol station.
No, that'd been nice, wouldn't it? But so we've actually not been affected at all.
Brilliant.
And we've had to have a couple of jaunts up to Coventry and back. Now we're near Dover. So we're on the furthest sort of eastern tip of the bottom of England.
It's the edge of the universe, mate.
Exactly. We're the nearest. We're very near to France. The nearest point, in Britain, nearest to France. And but we had to go up to Coventry and back 4 times. So luckily, I mean, we weren't affected by the petrol strike. But having said that, we got a petrol station around the corner from us, and it was absolutely mental. You know, I mean, they had those police people, not they're called special constables, and they were there marshalling the traffic.
Hang on. Those police people,
how
posh are you in your electric car and your huge office?
Police people, John. You know, they were. I mean, they were having a hell of a time because there was people. They blocked both lanes of the road, going either way, so people can't get past the people that are queuing. And these guys are trying their best, and people are just going mad. So, I felt really sorry for people actually, and it still seems to be going on a little bit at the moment. But I don't know.
You didn't goad them by driving past really fast and putting your foot down and revving the engine so it went like that.
Yeah.
When about 12 years ago, I got asked to do this advert. It was a podcast. It was like a trial, what do you call it?
Yeah.
A dummy run for a show that has a motoring show, that electric cars on it. And we just were fascinated by this little toy car. And the guy from the company that was making them, I think it was Renault or some French company, he said they were going to make it sound like an engine so that people won't get run over.
Yeah. They do have they play a sound if you're going lower than 15 or 18 miles an hour or something. So what makes a noise.
What sound is it, Dickie? Tell us.
It's like a it's like a that sort of
like a giant mosquito.
Like a big giant, exactly like a big giant, or a bumblebee sort of,
So freak people out. Suddenly, there's a giant bumblebee coming.
Exactly.
Jump out of the way, get it by a bus.
Exactly.
Brilliant. What sort of car did you get? Sasha wants to know.
It's a Hyundai. It's a Kona. Very nice.
Oh, she don't like them.
Really nice.
Nah, she won't have one of them. She won't have one of them.
Well, she not. What one does she want then?
She wants a Tesla. She wanted one of them. See if you can work it out. She said, I want a car that goes like this.
Oh, what the? Yeah, the old gold wing doors, the big. Lovely.
That's a giant chicken, mate. That's not a car.
Lovely.
Yeah, but then when she saw it, she didn't like it.
She's quite fussy, isn't she, Tash? I mean,
mate, honestly,
fussy. I mean,
it's just needy. She kind of doors that go like that. She wanted doors like that. So
you should get one because they're lovely. I mean, they're nice things. They're nice things, and no petrol, so great.
And minimum 29% tax back at the end of the year.
Well, they're rated 1% on your benefit in kind, John. So it's about £4 a month in tax.
There you go, mate. Happy days. Well, that's been the end of the advertisement for car. We're now sponsored by Hyundai.
The thing is, I've got my old life was in financial services, so I find it so easy just to slip straight back into it. It's mad, isn't it?
It's running 1% per month net and all the rest of it. So we're still kind of deciding on the car situation.
Yeah.
Right, So we'll leave that subject because then what will happen will be I'll go downstairs when the show's finished and she'll have like all these adverts up for Mercedes, and she still can't quite understand how tax works. So her thing is, comes off your tax. Let's get a Porsche. You go, no, you have to earn the money.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, you still cost your money, but it's Yeah.
Not in her world. Bless her. Bless her. So, for anyone joining in, anyone tuning in, anyone listening, either on the podcast or YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you may be, talking to Dickie Richards, international comic and model.
Model. That's right. Model. Yes. Model.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it. It's brilliant. How did you get into comedy? What did you do before you did comedy, mate?
Well, I did. As I said, I did financial services. So I had in '89, I think I started off as an insurance agent. You know, going around collecting people's premiums, it's like the man from the Prue, that type of thing. I did that for about 10 years, working my way up in that company, and then I got qualified through them, and then ended up working for another couple of firms. But ultimately, started my own mortgage broking company. Which I ran, and it was going all right until 2008 when it all went way, and I literally more or less lost my business overnight. So it was a real shocker, actually. It's a real shocker.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you're the sort of theme of your show and your sort of the stuff you're doing with this is mental health, and that was a real. Because I remember it really clearly, you know, and I mean, I wasn't able to actually physically do any business at that time, and the reason was because they'd reduced just to be really boring, they'd reduced the base rate, the interest rate to 0.5%, right, which meant that anyone who was going to be coming back to me with mortgage fixed rate is finished, what other one can I switch to? And all I could do is tell them is because the rate's gone down to almost nothing, stay where you are, you know, and because, you know, if you change, you'll be onto a higher rate. So I was basically turning clients away and telling them to stay where they were. And I sort of thought in my mind that it would come back, you know, 6 months, it'll be all right. No, a year, it'll be all right. And I started running my finances on credit cards. It's mental.
Well, I'm not going to lie, mate. You said that it wasn't going to be a very interesting story, and so far you've not been wrong. Well, what's going on?
I'm coming to the point, mate. Yeah, I'm coming to the point. The point is that I ran up. I've never been in debt in my life, and I ran up about 40 grand of a debt. And then the day came when I wasn't going to be able to meet my commitments, right? Which had all sorts of implications for working in financial services. You weren't going to be able to do it. And I thought the world was going to end, you know, like tomorrow was going to be the day. That's it. I can't, you know, it's going to go ping. And the next day, I couldn't meet me with commitments. So therefore, I couldn't carry on working in financial services. But nothing physically happened to me. You know what I mean? I went, oh, well, actually, you know what I mean? The sun's still risen. I'm still all right. Nothing actually has happened to me. And that's really how I started on my, in a roundabout way, started and then got into comedy. So that was, whenever that was, about 2000-ish, yeah.
And where was your first gig?
So my first gig was in a pub in Greenwich.
Okay.
At the pub called the Star and Garter. There was an open mic night there, run by a mate of mine, and they were doing music and stuff, but they also had a little comedy section. And I just had a chat to him when I was in there and said, oh, you know, I've always fancied doing comedy. He went, right, well, you know, you're on next week then, right, 5 minutes, there you are.
Brilliant. What year was that?
What year was that? That was, let's have a look.
Vicky, have you made notes, mate? Have you prepared for this?
I'm trying to think.
Have you got a PR person sitting next to you going?
2010, that was. 2010.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was it. So and then I ended up doing it every week for God knows how long, for a long time. You know what I mean? And it was it was mad. It was mad. But I felt really happy. That's the thing. I was skint as you like, struggling to keep me house and pay my mortgage. Really, really worried about money. But actually, I was happy as Larry because I was just writing jokes and practicing and filming myself doing them. And you know, and it was great looking back on it now.
It's just funny, isn't it? How things happen and how we adapt and how we kind of move on, move around. But you got there. What was your first gig like then? Did it go really well? You smashed it and you thought, I'm going to be a superstar?
No. All I remember is motoring through this material that I'd written and not pausing for breath almost. And I remember like an hour beforehand, my hands were just freezing cold and clammy, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just got through it, motored through it, and the next 7 or 10 were exactly the same. Just motoring through it, and then eventually you're able to then calm down and sort of realise where you are and what you're doing, then you can sort of take your time. So It was a slow process, but it was really, really useful and a good way to do it. Just thrown in straight at the deep end. And actually, John, you could do gigs in pubs. There's people that it's their local, and they just sit there going like, "Well,
yeah, just staring at
him." And you feel like, if you're not sort of like very resilient, and I think I am. I've got quite thick skin, I think. And I was able just to think, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to come back, and that's fine. But actually, it's a very like high threat thing to do. Sitting there in front of trying to tell jokes and make them laugh. So I didn't really succeed that well in making them all laugh, to be honest with you. But it was it was all right. It was good fun.
Fantastic. Just a quick mention that if anyone's listening on the podcast or on YouTube or social media, do leave your comments and your thoughts. We're always looking for feedback. Just a reminder, we are sponsored by the WJ Group, who are the UK's leading road marking and highways maintenance company. WJ have been really, really supportive of me. And this is an obvious punt and a plug. These guys have been really good, really, really got behind me, as so many people have, with, my venture from just doing comedy into, other areas. Because, for a lot of comics, it's all about just get yourself on, walk the week, right, out of 10 cats and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I didn't want to do that. And today,
just got a face for it, really, John.
I've got a face for radio, perfect face for radio. And then today, I was just woke up, just lovely little announcement. I got a little award from I&I. I think they call it I&I. From we got the guy himself, Dave Sleet, who's a really good bloke, very interesting man. I'm happy for him to join the show. He's got a wealth of experience and a bit of mischief about him too. So, Dick, this is Dave. Dave, welcome to the show, mate.
Hi, Dave.
Evening, Dickie. Good evening, everybody.
So, what you've heard so far, then, Dave? Was Dickie's? Is he heading for a little bit of PTSD? Has he had any trauma there?
I think he's probably actually weathered what he's been through from what he's presented. And I can only go on what's presented. But from everything that's there's been the experience and there's been that anxiety of what if the bubble bursts. And invariably, as Dickie kind of alluded to, the anxiety is worse than the actual burst.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And when you're able to take that step after the burst and go, hold on, and I'll quote you, the sun still came up and I'm still here. It wasn't what you were expecting. And that's a phenomenal kind of launch point to be in at that moment. And so many people are so anxious that when they get that burst, they're not going to be able to have that realization that they don't get to the burst. And that's where a lot of the work that we do at APA is educating those around the world of psychology, that actually, if it doesn't change the color of the sky, you tend to be okay in the morning. And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to hear when they're absolutely convinced that the situation they're in is the color of the sky changing.
Yeah, I don't think you actually would hear it, Dave. That's the thing. I certainly wouldn't. And I remember friends saying to me, "Look, it's all right. It's not that bad. You're going to get through this. It's a moment in time. Don't worry." And literally, that doesn't go in. Maybe on some sort of a subconscious level, maybe you take it in, but actually no. That didn't allay my fears. It didn't stop me worrying in any way, really, in any way.
And it's sitting in the middle of a tornado, and everyone's saying those things, and there's nothing wrong with saying those things. I don't want anybody to think,
no, absolutely, yes, no, absolutely, because they were true. That's the thing. It's true. It's true, but you don't.
They're on the other side of that tornado.
Yeah. And my own experience was that I didn't realise that until I looked back on it. That's it. And I thought, well, yeah, you were right. The people are right. And that's why it's valid, as you say, to tell people that.
It's letting the person that's on the inside of that tornado know that there is a different way of dealing with the situation. Invariably, what for the benefit of taking that analogy to the zenith. Okay, think about it. The world is spinning around outside you, and you're putting the "it's okay." It's a bit like asking somebody to put their hand in that tornado. And then walk through that to get on the outside of it. Well, that is the most frightening, if not, impossible thing to ask somebody to do at that moment in time.
Yeah.
What we look at doing is, instead of saying go through that tornado, you can get through this, etc. How about looking up through the eye of the storm that you're sitting in? Because if you look up in the eye of the storm, you've got clear skies. And then you can start the work to come out through that, rather than going, forwards into the middle of it all. And it gives people a different way of looking at what they're facing.
Hey, just briefly tell us your background. Are you like a clinician? Are you an analyst? What's your?
Okay, so I'm a qualified life and business coach, and have been for 15 years. And before that, I was doing corporate training and coaching within the hospitality arena.
Right.
And so that's my background. And 3 years ago, I met Siobhan Crosby, who probably about 3 months after we met, was diagnosed with colon cancer.
Oof.
And she was very involved in the therapeutic arena and the management and the political side of the psychotherapy world. And I had just written The Psychological Hive, which is a coaching guide.
Gotcha.
To businesses. So we kind of came together at this pinnacle moment in Siobhan's life. And as she was going through recovery from major surgery, she kind of looked at me at the end of an event that we put together and said, why don't we show people what can be done instead of what we've been told we have to accept?
Yeah.
And A&A was born in its current form. So
when you come across comedians or people like Dickie, he's like shown by his lived experience how adversity and the rest of it. He mentioned resilience a couple of times. Dickie, where did you get your resilience from, mate?
Well, I mean, it's really interesting, and I didn't know I had any really, at the time. It's only through looking back, and I think. It's difficult. I don't want to say I've got a positive outlook, you know what I mean? But I think generally I've got a view that, I can sort of, do anything really. That's the thing, you know what I mean? I'll give it a go. I'll try that. So I think I have a positive approach to stuff. And although I was battered down with this financial stuff. I mean, really was battered down with it. And I probably became the most boring person that you'd ever want to meet, because all I talked about was money. Now I've got no money. Now I've got this and that for a long time. And I think what probably got me through was just this like way of thinking that I think I can probably do stuff and get on, And I sort of tried to make some plans to do different stuff and get myself out of the situation. I mean, it ended up sort of rolling over me, like a big a road roller, but I came out the other end. So, but resilience, I think it was just a mental strength maybe that I've got, that I didn't really know I had at the time. Looking back on it, I think I've got it, and I tend to have a positive outlook on most things. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean I'll just go around going like, "Hey, great, life is great," because I'll get grumpy and naffed off with a lot of stuff as well, like a lot of people. But I think that's what got me through. I didn't feel at any time that I was going to go under, mentally speaking. I think I was very, very stressed. I mean, I suffer with psoriasis when I get stressed. So I've had outbreaks of that and stuff, and that's and so that again in a weird
an indicator for your body telling you that it's keeping your score, isn't it? And kind of venting out those things that you're not able to vent out any other way. And that resilience that you talk about there, that's underpinned by something that is so often overlooked, but your self-awareness of your capacity to get through that situation is what was underpinning that resilience. So you said in that piece there that you never felt that you were going to go under. There was something that said to you.
Yeah, but specifically like mentally, you know, I didn't think it would break me on a mental level. You know what I mean? I didn't feel that I was going to have like a breakdown or anything like that. You know, so I think I had like a mental strength really to look at it, you know, as just a thing that was happening, I suppose.
And it's
although I wasn't very happy about it in any way.
Outside. It's something that's happening to you. It's a bit like, you know, a boat doesn't sink because of the water that's outside it. Right? This was something that was going on outside of you.
Dave, you got to help me on this one, mate. This is all, I watched Titanic, and I'm pretty sure it was the water on the outside that sunk the ship.
And submarines.
What
was it? Submarines sunk the Titanic, Dickie? Hang on, this is like the Polish Secret Service.
The Polish film industry submarine sunk it, and trying to get the right.
It's when the water gets on the inside that it sinks the boat.
All right, I'll got you. There you go. So, as you were, Dick. As you were, mate.
So the situation was on the outside for Dickie.
Yeah.
And his self-awareness that this isn't me, this isn't breaking me, this is on the outside here. That meant that he was able to hold on to that resilience.
That does make it sound a little bit that I knew about it. I mean, I didn't know that at the time. As I stressed that, I didn't know. I mean, looking back on it, I can think about it in that way. But at the time, it was. I mean, I honestly thought it was. You know, it was just a really bad situation that I couldn't seem to do anything about. And it was, you know, and it took over really all of my personality and all my, you know, stuff for quite a while actually. And then when it went tits up financially, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, really. You know, looking back on it, but you don't know that when you're there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
That's the kind of moment of most risk. Is the moment of most clarity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like jumping out of the plane. When you're sat on the edge of the plane waiting to go, you've got maximum safety because the plane's not crashing out of the sky. You're safe. You're in the plane, but that's the moment you're most fearful.
Dave, a lot of your analogies, mate, involve disasters. Have you got any nice ones? Have you got any involving like sitting on a cake, no water, no falling out of the sky?
Cakes, any cake analogies?
Yeah, cake. Any cake analogy, Dave? Cake. We want cake.
I'll give you a cake analogy that came up with.
He's got more. This is brilliant. Come on, mate. I've got a suitcase here. Go make your notes. Come on, Kate. Go on.
So, if you think about the skills and the experience that Dickie had before the crisis, that gave him the skills and experience to deal with what he was dealing with at that moment in time, right? So that's the ingredients to make the cake that led to the disaster.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Right?
I like that.
Okay.
That's good.
So now he's looking back and he's got some more skills and he's got some more experience. He's got a different set of ingredients. So now the cake that Dickie can make is based on new ingredients, not the same ingredients that he had before the disaster.
So is it like reframing? Is it that?
It's about accepting that the experience that you've been through is still giving you skills and experience to deal with what comes after that fact. But you've got more now than you had before. So the cake that you can make now is going to be a damn sight stronger, damn sight better than the one that you did when you only had the ingredients that led you to the bad cake.
So, Dickie, do you feel then?
There you go.
Mate, that was good. That was good. Dickie, do you feel then a stronger person from what you've been through, or has the comedy helped you?
Well, I think without a doubt, John, I feel a much stronger person and less worried about a load of trivial stuff. So, and when I say trivial stuff, money for one, just give up on it. I went, you know what? I'll give you up, because I sort of thought, well, you work hard, you make money, you'd be successful, and it was like, and I was bringing my daughter up at the time, so I brought her up since she was 3 years old on my own. So I had all that sort of going on. I thought, oh, this is what you do, and I worked hard, and I tried to make money, and I was never any good at it, and it done me over. It done me over, and I rejected it. I'm not bothered about money now. So I left that. That's made me stronger. And also the experience of just being able to change sort of tack in your life. So I thought I was doing very well. I had this mortgage broker company, and I had lots of business lined up. It was great, and loads and loads of business lined up. I was doing, because I'm Polish, the Polish Cockney. I had a load of Polish clients that I've got, and that was turning into more referrals, and it was getting really, really busy. But when that went ping, I then realised that actually you can change and do something else. You know what I mean? And there is other things. You'd end up doing stuff that you'd never think you were going to do. So I'd always liked comedy. Me and my dad, we were always telling stupid jokes to each other, always doing spoonerisms, word games, all that sort of stuff. But it was never really something I could do for a living. But when that sort of disaster, in inverted commas, happened to me, I was able to change, and I've ended up doing this for over 10 years now, and I've done some mad things, and it's brilliant. And every day, Mum, I've got one of them brains. Every day I just sit there making notes, writing stupid jokes. John, you probably see it on Facebook. Going, what's he done there? Stupid nonsense, really. But that's just me. You know what I mean?
But what I like is I'll see your nonsense on Facebook. Yeah. Then I'll see you doing it in front of an audience, and you see the laughter, the joy, the happiness just spread through that room. Yeah. And again, it always intrigues me that I'm just a bloke, right? If I weren't doing comedy, I'll be working for the council, or I'll be working on a building. I'll be doing something. Right, but then I see people like yourself who, to me, they're like proper comedians, right? Because you kind of sit and do feed line, punchline, and then what I do is the same off stage as on stage. But you come alive, put a microphone in your hand, and I can imagine it. When I meet your missus, I'll go to her. If he's ever sulking, just put a microphone in his hand. He'll just come alive.
That's right. It's interesting, John, because I did a show at my local theatre a few weeks ago, and when the spirit moves you, and I'd end up doing like foot stomps on the stage and all that, and it really but it's interesting. So it does. It really, I mean, I never really felt that sort of what do you call it? Energy from anything else I've ever done. Really, you know what I mean? So that's. It's nice to be. How
does that fit with this resilience thing, then, Dave? How does that work?
I'm gonna take a punt. All right, I'm not a comic, right? I tried doing stand up once. I walked on stage when I was at a high school talent show. Went on in black. There was a whole black curtain behind me, spotlight, microphone stand. Nobody could see me. It was just ears coming out of a microphone.
That's hilarious. Can I have that? Can I use that?
And they realised I was stood there. And it was frightening. I was 14. I was horrified. But the energy that you get when you are engaging with an audience is actually fueling that performance. And if you've got no energy coming off of the audience, it gets harder to keep the performance level up. And that connection is something that performers of all kinds are hungry for, because it fuels that excitement, that burst of energy that they have. And Freddie Mercury at Live Aid, he got there too late to do a warm up, so he used the warm up on stage. But that connection with the audience powered that entire performance.
I just want to go back to what you said there. That's fascinating. Freddie Mercury didn't have time to do the warm up, so he did the warm up on stage. That's resilience, isn't it? That's experience. That's being able to kind of go, right, I'm taking charge here.
And it's that power of and the confidence to be able to use the situation when everyone else will go, I don't know what we're going to do here. Mm-hmm. It's that capacity to connect with an audience that allows that to play out in the best possible way.
So just so Dickie and Dave, you can't see the comments that people are leaving. all you can see is Tasha's replies, which are really out of context. Just a few little shouts. Charlotte Murray, thanks for coming. Steph Martin Halls is saying a big hello to everyone. Jamie Donovan, thanks for coming along. It's interesting. Pat Rolling, he wants to know, is it resilience or hope that gets you through? Is there a difference? Do you want to try that one, Dickie? Do you want to go first?
I'd say I would say you have to have an element. I would say I'm not an expert in any way, but I think you've got to be. If you've got some resilience, then you're likely probably to get through. And if you don't have resilience, it might be more difficult, I suppose. But I suppose there must be varying levels of resilience that people have. There must be, because people cope with all sorts of stuff. You think, I could never cope with that, but some people do and some people don't. So as far as hope's concerned, I think it's important to try to remember to have hope. That's all. Because you've got to be hopeful for stuff. Because that will give you something to almost, I don't know, latch onto. I suppose is a thought.
I can see Dave's brain whirring here. He's thinking of an analogy of hope and resilience where you get chased by a lion. Something like that. There's a bloke with an axe.
Do analogies.
Come on. Dickie's right in a lot of what that's kind of resilience is a scale. All right. Some people can see things over and over again and it never affects them, and then something down the road, bang, and it's all falling apart. And some people, they can't take that. It's and it's so individual, and the variables that create that resilience are so enormous that we can never be able, and we should never kind of judge somebody's resilience by our own, because we've all got different building blocks to our resilience. And as soon as we start kind of going, well, come on, it wasn't that bad, really, get over it. You've got no idea what that person's building blocks for their resilience has been. And when we don't feel that we've got resilience, then we revert to support systems. And the sooner we can engage those support systems, the sooner we're able to actually stabilize our own resilience. And 9 times out of 10, the human being does not reach out in a crisis until the crisis has already kind of pushed them under.
Yeah, I remember going to America, it's like 16, 17 years ago. And, I went to visit a mate and he said, I'm going to be a bit late because my therapist is running over. And I said, why have you got a therapist? Is everything all right? And he said, I've got a therapist to make sure that everything's all right. Mm-hmm. I'm like, nah. In England, you go to a therapist after the incident, after the tragedy. You'd go there to make your sentence lighter in court, or to try and get access to your kids, or to try and get your job back. But no Englishman would go and have therapy willingly, or very few, right? Yeah. And now it seems like, wow, everyone's on it. Loads of my friends are in therapy.
If you think about it, a boxer doesn't wait to get a coach, a nutritionist, a cuts man, or anything else until after the first round, right? They have all of that before they go into the ring. And life is like that. We all need a support team around us for different things, to do different things at different times. And when we've got that team before a crisis, invariably, whatever crisis comes up, it's a lot easier to deal with because we've already got the building blocks that come from having that support mechanism around us. And it's one of the reasons why APA launched the Yellow Heart Team initiative, to showcase how we can have that first self-help point of support before a crisis. Because if you look at your phones, any day of the week, you've got hundreds of phone numbers, hundreds of contacts in there. And in a crisis, who would you reach out to? Probably about half a dozen people. But you don't think about that until there's a crisis. And then you've got all of the pressure of, is it too much for them? Do I want to burden them with this? Do I want this? Can they actually be any benefit? By which time the crisis has got even worse.
But it seems like in Dickie's case, you reach for a microphone.
Well, yeah, but not consciously, John. That's the thing. I mean, I didn't, looking back. I mean, I ended up the thing that befell me freed me from my old life, if you like. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but mentally it really did. And I just thought, well, stop that. I don't want to be doing that. You know what I mean? And what am I going to do? And I did various different things, tried different things out. And eventually circumstances led me to meet an old mate who was doing a comedy show at an open mic night in a pub. And I ended up doing it and sort of never really looking back after that. Do you know what I mean? So, what was the question? I can't remember.
So how then do you think the Polish side of it? Do you think is it culturally? Is there because I know that growing up in an Irish family, it was very much a case of get over it, get on with it.
Well, do you know what? I don't know, to be honest with you, because I mean, I was born. Well, I'm born in London and brought up in London by Polish parents. So I've had a bit of a Cockney upbringing, if you like, around southeast London, Bermondsey, Rotherhithe, and hanging about with people like that. So I've got that type of mentality, and I would say they're sort of that type of person, southeast Londoners, if you like, just get on with it. Shut up, it's all right. You know what I mean? So maybe there's part of that in me. I don't know. There probably is. The Polish side, I don't know what the Polish psyche would be about dealing with hardship, but I think historically, you know what I mean?
Oh, here we go.
Maybe we just, maybe that's just us. We're inbuilt survivors. You know what I mean?
Have just listen. If we have a top trumps competition for the most hard done by people in the world, Poland, mate, you'd struggle to. Yeah,
the thing is, John,
match
I wouldn't say that, but that's what other people say. That.
You'd struggle to say that, mate. If they were like a massive, beautiful house with no doors, and people just kept coming. Balls. Yeah, an incredible story. But I just wonder though. So my dad was he was not a very expressive man. You knew he was angry, but he was generally pretty upbeat all the time. So I think in my case, I certainly learned to be upbeat all the time from my dad and to have a really acerbic, mean streak when needed from my mum. Yeah, and that then.
My dad was like a joker. He'd light up a room and he'd be, this life and soul. Yeah. But he was a git really. You know what I mean? He was a drinker. He didn't. We once had a gas meter taken out because he'd nicked all the money out of it. Do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. So, his early life, he was born in Siberia when they were taken by the Russians. Do you know what I mean? Then he did his early years in the refugee camps in India, then through Tehran, and then never really had. His dad was killed over there, so he never had a dad. He came back, and his whole family were messed up by it. Of course, you would be. Do you know what I mean? And so he, I think that was what ended up becoming him. Do you know what I mean? And he was really, very self-centered, I think, person, but a lovely bloke. But but not. So I don't think I've got any of that from him. That sort of, I can't see him as being a survivor, really. I mean, I don't mean a survivor, but
no. I get what you're saying.
If he struggled mentally, you'd know about it because he'd be telling, it's all terrible, and you know what I mean. That's what my dad did. So, so I don't know. I suppose it must be like an individual thing, mustn't it? You must have something.
You've got to cover it somewhere.
That is just and it's what you fall back on, probably from an early age. If you're in any sort of adversity, you go back into that safe space somewhere, and that gets you through whatever it is.
So just quick couple of mentions. Steph Martin Halls, she loves your boxing analogy there, Dave. She's going to use it in a mental health course on Friday. Big hello from Dawn McNulty as well. Just for anyone just coming along, just tuning in tonight, Katie Mulgrew couldn't get on tonight. So I was very fortunate that Dickie Richards, international jet-setting model, comedian, chained up dog owner by the sound of things, with the tidiest office in the world. And Dave Sleet, whose background, he must be in the Japanese knocking shop next door to mine. We got similar backgrounds. But just quick thank you to WJ, our show sponsors, who have been absolutely phenomenal in supporting me in my using comedy to raise awareness of wellbeing, that sort of stuff. Which brings us on to Dave, and a really nice thing to wake up to this morning, this lovely little award you gave me, mate. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Okay, so first off, congratulations. The ANA announced we were launching the Ethical and Psychological 2020 Vision Awards last year, and the whole point of the awards was to look at recognizing and celebrating positive mental health in a completely new way. So previously, we cast our minds back, anything to do with mental health, organisations, charities, companies, etc., were told what they should be doing in order to deliver positive mental health. And that hasn't actually, when we look at what's happened in the world of mental health, hasn't actually made that much of a difference. But what we saw was that there is a massive amount of creativity, both in the arts, but also in the corporate world when it comes to positive mental health. And that wasn't being recognised in any way, shape or form. So we wanted to open the doors for people to say, look at what this company's doing. Look at what we're doing. Look at what this individual is doing and the impact that it's having on raising positive mental health. And that really sparked kind of what's ethical, what's psychological, what is positive mental health. And the awards came up from all of that work. And so far this year, both men's radio station and women's radio station have been nominated and awarded contribution awards. We have a social worker who was nominated for our Youth Engagement Award. We have an estate agent in Scotland who was awarded for his contribution to the community and the way his business supports people through what is by far one of the most stressful times of their life, the buying and relocating of homes. So when we got the nomination for John, it sat so perfectly when we look at the use of comedy to raise positive mental health, because people go to comedy and have gone to comedy for hundreds of years in order to have that boost in the moment. But what you've done, John, is take that premise and run with that in a way that goes beyond just that individual show or just that individual tour. This is about focusing on how comedy can be used. And that's a contribution to all of us that hasn't really been acknowledged anywhere else. And we wanted to make sure that that was recognised and celebrated. And that's why when Siobhan and I sat down and looked at the nominations for this quarter, or quarter just gone, your name came right through. It was all, it was pretty much a no-brainer once we started looking at the work that you've been doing outside of the stuff with men's radio. Just being able to say comedy makes that difference is a no-brainer, but comedy makes a positive mental health difference. That's the difference there, right away, and celebrating that was just a no-brainer for us. So,
no, I appreciate that, mate, and it's a nice thing to wake up to. Where like Dickie's saying about how he going on stage helped you get through a tough time. I've not had that. I've not had that time. When I've had a tough time in my life, I've got that good supportive social network around me. But what I did notice very early on in my comedy was that I was talking to like hundreds and sometimes thousands of people every week, and I can make you laugh about my kids or my neighbours or my wheelie bins. But if you can make people actually go, well, yeah, I've never seen it like that, or I've never thought of it like that before. That's where I wanted my comedy to go. So much so that, last week I'm on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean talking about homophobia, well-being, prostate cancer, and audiences are really going with it. And the other performers were like, I've never seen anyone try and do that before. But I think mine isn't. I've always had a lack of awareness, believe it or not. Mine doesn't come from, I mean, I have good intentions, but I'm not consciously trying to help you. I'm just not aware that you've got a problem. So I'm not judging you due to, just because, well, you're all right, so you don't like going out in the rain. We won't go out in the rain.
Mental health in an arena of any kind should never be about targeting what you believe someone in that arena is dealing with. If you raise positive mental health as an atmosphere, you raise positive mental health for everybody in that atmosphere. And that's a completely different way of looking at how positive mental health can be engaged. And that's why the E&P Awards came to be. And what you've done is create the environment where positive mental health can be expressed no matter who's in the room. And
I'll take that. No, I appreciate that. It's nice. It was nice to be recognised. It's nice that to see that you can. I think you can take comedy outside of the clubs, right? And Dickie will understand this. The comedy is a meritocracy. The best acts get on the television. It's in my 20 years of experience. There's no act got on the telly because they're rubbish and they knew someone. They have hands up, help along the way. But that was never my intention. My thing was obviously I want to make a career. I want to write, but I genuinely want to make a bit of a difference. And I don't know if that comes from resilience or if it comes from. With me, it's more of a can I do this? So when I started building an extension, my mate Darren, I said, look, I think I can drive a digger, and he went, I'll drive it with you. And I have people like that, and Tasha will go, yeah, I'll come, I'll do it with you. And I don't have people who tell me what I can't do. I have people who either go, oh, this is, I'm going to watch this, see how this turns out, or come with me.
Yeah.
And then you pick up kindred spirits like Dickie along the way. You go, actually, I'll spend a lot of time with this guy if I could, because he's a good bloke. So to hear you then saying, well, I've had these problems, and comedy not as a therapy but as a help, it just kind of reinforces my own beliefs.
And this is where when we start to build the team around us, when things are right for us as individuals, the people that levitate to us are the people that we need around us.
Yeah.
When things aren't right and we're out of balance, the people that levitate to us invariably are there to push us over. And it's about being able to be balanced enough to have the right people around us.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kind of programs that we deliver to disadvantaged groups, whether it's to kids that are going through the care system or those that have been connected to the justice sector or the ex-military community next week, they're all got some form of imbalance in what they've been exposed to. Not they've got an imbalance.
It's what they're. I see that.
But the environment around them has knocked them over slightly.
Well, again, that's relevant to you, Dickie, isn't it? But Dave, if I've got to thank you so much because we're coming to the end. Thanks so much, mate, for coming along at short notice. I appreciate that, and thank you so much for picking me. We speak soon, mate.
Take it easy.
Cheers, brother. All the best. That was Dave Slade. He's just I could talk to him for hours. Yeah. And do you know what I love is it's just this kind of down to earth message. It just gets to it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's what you and also, I mean, I know we laughed about analogies, but they're really useful, aren't they? That's the thing. So it's a really useful way to demonstrate what he's talking about, and actually gets the message across well. Makes you think about it in the right way. But right.
Would you have like a tip that works for you then in helping people or suggesting things to people with regard to what they can do to stay positive or a well-being tip?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what I did do, John. I did a mindfulness course. Now I'm not plugging that in any way.
No.
We had the option to do it via someone in our family, and we did an 8-week mindfulness course. And what I took from it, we've done it, and I don't practice it every day, but I've taken one thing from it which I use almost on a daily basis. And it's a thing about, they always talk about it. It's like being in the moment. That's the thing, being right now where you are, and they call it a check-in, and you just do like a minute's check-in where you just breathe in, sort of think about your breathing, where you are, have a look around, right, and then you go, and that really just snaps you out of, you know, worrying about what's coming later on, or worrying about what's happening next week, or, you know, thinking, oh, I haven't got this, I haven't got that, hasn't gone right, or that hasn't gone right. It's a real good way to actually break your brain's, you know, going round and round, you know, worrying about stuff. So that's what I would say. That was my big takeaway from doing this eight-week mindfulness course, was that one thing which I use every day.
Brilliant. You know, where can people see you? Are you gigging soon? Are you gigging around?
Don't know, John. I haven't got it in front of me, John. But there's not much in the diary at the moment. I'm pottering about in my garage at the moment. Doing it. I'm teaching myself to weld, believe it or not. So I'm doing a few repairs on our little camper van. So
mate, if you told me that half an hour ago, I'll explain my welding story another time. Mate, thank you so much for coming along, especially stepping at short notice. I've
really enjoyed it, John, and thanks for what you're doing, mate. It's great, you know, it's great. And I was going to say you're a funny guy, John, as well. I love watching you as well. You're brilliant. So if anyone's out there sees John on the bill, do go along and see him. But you're doing a great job with this mental health stuff, John. Excellent. Thank you.
Cheers, pal. Speak soon. Check in. Wow. So, you know, I've got a huge head now. I've got a massive ego. Next week, I'll be having more people on tell me how great I am. I think I could do this week by week. I do appreciate the support that we've been given. My little company, Happy to Help You. We're really chuffed that we've been recognised. Men's radio station and sister station, women's radio station, or just, you know, 2 stations. I've got some fantastic stuff going on, different shows, 24/7, every day. Look at the website, mensradiostation.com. Do have a look at Facebook, YouTube, and all the other social media outlets. Interesting, Dickie saying about mindfulness and being in the moment, because, it is all about enjoying the moment, enjoying the day. Dave's tip there, a crisis is easier to deal with if you've got a support team. Thinking about who you've got around you, not when you're in trouble, but when you're not in trouble. Reach out and you know, reconnect with people. If you've lost contact with people, it's easy to do. And all you got to do is send a text going, hey, how you doing? I'm thinking of you, or what's going on in your world. Don't be shy. My own top tips for well-being, as I say every week, quite simple. Just get them negative people out of your life where possible. Try and get yourself some meaningful hobbies. The practical stuff, trying to get a good night's sleep. Have people in your life you can learn from. So I had the fantastic Pete Murray around here today, and I've learned how to not panic when there's water poured out of all the pipes. But no, he was very calm, absolutely fantastic. Just reframe any unhelpful thoughts. You've got that monkey voice that you've got. Be in the present, like Dickie's mentioned. Connecting with others and trying to live a healthy life where you can. You only get one life, and on your deathbed, I'm going to guarantee that no one's going to say, I wish I'd spent more time at work. What you tend to find, people on the deathbed say, I wish I had done. Whatever that thing is you wish you'd done, do it. Do it tomorrow. Start making those changes and understand that we're not in this life on our own. There's a lot of people out there who can help and will help if they're given the opportunity. And it's really nice to find that you people appreciate what you do. And as I found out this morning when I got up, getting my little contribution award, I'm chuffed to bits for that. It's just nice with people going, job well done. How often do you tell someone, job well done? Try and do that. Try and say, I appreciate what you do. Try and show appreciation. And in the same way, you'll feel better making other people feel better. I know it sounds daft, but it actually works. Do join us again next Monday when we've got an amazingly funny Steve Best. I've only got 3 autographs in my autograph book, and his is one of them. Hopefully, Katie will be feeling better in a week or 2, so we will get her on because she is phenomenally funny. Honestly, top draw. Do tune into the station, like I say. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Well, that's the end of another episode of Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. talking with comedians about mental wellness, mental well-being, and just trying to get the conversation going. What we're trying to do is show that it's good to talk, and we're also trying to show that everybody can go through the same experiences. A massive thank you to the WJ Group who sponsored the show, showing their commitment not just to mental well-being, but also to reaching as broad an audience as possible. It's great to be part of the mensradiostation.com family, so do check us out on the website, on social media. We'll be back next Monday. You take care. Stay safe, everybody.